Hello, so this is right here. This is the essay that I wrote when I was applying to colleges, and it got me into 13 of the 17 schools I applied to, including my current school that I'm attending right now, the University of Chicago. So because we're going into the summer and a lot of people are going to be writing their college essays, I wanted to talk about the 5 things, I don't want to call them helpful, like these are compulsory things you must include in your essay, that I included in mine that you need to have if you want to get into the school you're hoping to get into. And that sounds daunting, saying like you have to have these 5 things, but it's easy to do. I just want to kind of tell you how you can put them in and just make sure that you're including these as you go through, and I think it'll be immensely helpful for when you apply. So if you're doing the Common App or another college application, usually there's the personal essay that's required, and it's relatively short, and mine is, word count, we are at 598 words. I don't remember what the maximum is. I should probably Google that right now. Okay, so the Common App essay word count is 250 to 650 words. So that is going to end up being probably between 1 and 2 pages. Also, when I go through my essay, I'll talk about how I use these 5 steps so you can see how it actually manifests in a college essay. But I will talk about the 5 components first. So beginning with number 1, authenticity. And this one's probably the easiest, I'd say. Use your real voice, don't sound fake, like don't put on a voice that isn't yours. The whole point of going to college is to become who you want to be and find out who you are. The point is just put yourself in as genuine a light as possible, because it'll be clear that you are being natural, and it's easy to tell when you are using a fake voice. The second important component is a lot harder to do, but change. And what you want to do with change is show how your character has changed in some way. No matter what your essay is, you're going to have some sort of depiction of yourself. From the beginning to the end of the story, that should sort of change in a positive way. So you can show like how you learned a lesson or how you grew as a person, because it looks really good for colleges if they know that you're able to adapt and change and overcome obstacles. And if you're just like this flat line throughout the entire essay, it's not going to prove that you're going to develop and sprout into a passionate human being, if that makes sense. Number 3 is passion. Through both your words and descriptions, you should show that you're interested in what you're writing about. You do not want to sound bored. This one kind of goes hand in hand with authenticity, and it's also an easier one, I think, but show that you're enthusiastic about something. I think it's very important for colleges to recognize that you aren't going to their school just to get a degree, just to get something on your resume, but to prove that you're going there because you want to learn something. So that's why you really need to communicate your passion in your college essay. Number 4 is individuality, because you must stand out. And I heard this and it stressed me out because I was like, I'm not unique. I haven't like climbed Mount Everest or been in the Olympics. I haven't gotten a Nobel Peace Prize, that sort of thing. What I mean by standing out is even if you do something that thousands of other kids do, like for example, art, just make it your own. You need to describe like in detail, be specific. How do you stand out in art? Even if you haven't won any prizes, it doesn't matter, because there are still ways that you can show how you make it your own. Whatever it is, it's your passion. You also need to show how it's individual to you. Number 5 is eloquence, and this one's more technical, so obviously just reread it a lot, have other people read it. You don't want overly fancy jargon, but then you also don't want to sound bland, so just kind of a balance of professional use of language so that you can prove that you have good writing, but you're also not trying to sound like a thesaurus. And then of course, proper grammar. Okay, with these 5 things, authenticity, change, passion, individuality, and eloquence, how did I implement these into my college personal essay? So let's talk about that. Okay, this is a little bit awkward, but here is the premise of my common application personal essay that I wrote. Basically, I will say the first line, a fictional character inspired me to play the violin. So that was the idea of the whole essay, and it was kind of like my thesis, and I also used it as my hook. You want to jump in because it's going to be a short essay, and you don't want to like spend time doing an introduction. Just leap right into whatever the point is that you want to make. For authenticity, I spoke about something that I don't talk about with a lot of other people because I feel like it's so relevant to like my interests and who I am that it makes me uncomfortable to talk about it with people. But I basically discussed like how much I love the fictional character Sherlock Holmes. Again, like if I'm just hanging out with people, I'm not like talking like, do you know how much I love Sherlock Holmes? Because I just feel like that would be a little bit awkward. But it comes across as authenticity in my essay because I'm being like honest about you know, I have a love for this fictional character. So yeah, that's authenticity, just kind of being who you are and translating that onto the page. Change. For me, the change was that at the beginning of the essay, I kind of talked about how I didn't think it was cool, I guess, I didn't use that word, but to have a fictional character as a role model. Because they're fictional, it just seemed like a very weird, I guess, thing to do. And then by the end of the essay, I explained how I actually have learned since then that fictional characters can be very inspiring and powerful to everyone across the world. And because of that power of fictional characters that I've understood through violin, that's also why I love to write. So that was kind of the realization that I explained through the essay. It's how I changed as a person, kind of embracing that respect for fiction that I have. And I think that just kind of encompasses what I mean by change. Like, I had one view at the beginning of the essay and then I changed it by the end, and I explained that throughout to show that I can adapt as a person, I guess. I mean, that's like what I intended to do. I don't know if it came across like that to the admissions committees, but you know, whatever, that was the intent. Passion. Passion was easier for me because the topic of the essay were two things that I love. So I was able to communicate that quite easily by just talking about violin and writing. Passion just kind of came through. Individuality. Obviously, a lot of people like Sherlock, and obviously a lot of people like violin. And I think that was where I tried to get the individuality from, was how can I tie these two things together? And because I knew that they did tie it together for me, obviously like writing for me was kind of strengthened by how I realized how powerful Sherlock was for me to learn the violin. So kind of creating this relationship between them was what made it individual, I think. This part is really not easy at first, because how do you take something that so many people do and transform it into your own? So I think, honestly, just really think about that part a lot in your essay. At some point, you'll have like this epiphany of, oh, I can do this, and it's going to be very individual, and I think just time, honestly. Because it took me a lot of thinking in order to write my essay. And then eloquence. Now I feel like this sounds very egotistical. I mean, I don't know actually how good the writing style is in here. I have no idea. It might be bad. All I know at least is that the grammar is right because I reread it a lot, but I don't know about the writing style. So that one is more difficult to judge, but as long as you have peers reading your essay, you should be able to get the fifth component. Yeah, that is the essay that I wrote that got me into some of the schools that I applied to. I'm happy with it still, I think. I'm glad that I wrote about those topics because I feel like they were important to me and it felt genuine. I think that I am pleased with it, I guess. But I hope that as you endeavor to write your essay that these 5 tips will help. So at least help give you confidence that your essay is good, because that was another stressful element for me was, is my essay any good? I hope that it goes well for you, and good luck with your admission season, which is still far away. I know it's only June, so please don't also be stressed out by the fact that I'm uploading this video in June. But thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more, and have a fantastic rest of your week.